This is an AI avatar of Lesix founder Rob Lee. Script produced using a custom-trained AI employee in Claude. Video produced using HeyGen. Now, let's begin. Here's a question that keeps most agents up at night. You're working 60 hours a week. You're spending money on marketing. You're hustling. But the results? They're not matching the effort. Sound familiar? The problem isn't that you're not working hard enough. The problem is resource allocation. Most agents are pouring time, money, and energy into activities that generate minimal return. Meanwhile, the highest impact opportunities? They're being neglected. Today, we're going to fix that. I'm going to walk you through a systematic framework for allocating your resources, time, money, energy. We'll cover how to identify what actually moves the needle in your business, how to structure your day around revenue priority, where your marketing dollars should actually go, and when to leverage other people versus doing it yourself. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap for working smarter, not just harder. Let's get started. Let's start with the foundation, the 80-20 principle. You've probably heard of it. 20% of your activities generate 80% of your results. But here's what most agents miss. They never actually identify which 20% that is. They assume they know, but assumptions cost you money. So here's what you need to do. Conduct an honest audit of your business. Start with your lead sources. Where did your last 10 closings actually come from? Not where you think they came from. Where they actually came from. Was it past clients, sphere of influence, open houses, paid leads, Zillow, referrals from other agents? Write it down, calculate the percentage. Next, your marketing channels. Which activities generated those leads? Was it your social media presence, your email newsletter, direct mail, cold calling, networking events? Again, be specific. Track it back. Now here's the critical part, your time investments. For 1 week, track how you spend your time in 30-minute blocks. Every activity, prospecting, showings, admin work, social media scrolling, emails, everything. At the end of the week, categorize each activity. Revenue generating, revenue supporting, low value. Revenue generating means it directly leads to closings, client meetings, prospecting, listing presentations, negotiations. Revenue supporting means it enables revenue but doesn't directly create it. Marketing, systems, education, CRM management. Low value means it neither generates revenue nor meaningfully supports it. Most agents discover something shocking. They're spending less than 30% of their time on high-value activities. That's the opportunity. Once you identify your 20%, the strategy becomes obvious. Double down on what works. Cut what doesn't. Now that you know where your results come from, let's talk about protecting that time. Time blocking. This isn't just putting things on a calendar. This is architecting your day around revenue priority. Here's how it works. First, identify your peak performance hours. When are you sharpest? When do you have the most energy? For some people, it's morning. For others, it's afternoon. Protect those hours for your highest value activities. If mornings are your peak time, that's when you prospect. That's when you do listing presentations. That's when you negotiate. Don't waste your peak hours on email. Don't waste them on administrative tasks, and definitely don't waste them scrolling social media. Next, create themed time blocks. Mondays might be prospecting day, Tuesday mornings, client meetings, Wednesday afternoons, content creation, Thursday, showings, Friday morning, follow-up and administrative catch-up. The key is batching similar activities together. Why? Because context switching kills productivity. Every time you jump from one type of task to another, your brain needs time to refocus. Studies show it takes about 30 minutes to regain deep focus after an interruption. That means if you're bouncing between emails, calls, showings, and paperwork all day, you're bleeding productivity. Batch your tasks, protect your focus. Now here's the discipline part. Treat your time blocks like client appointments because they are appointments. They're appointments with your future success. If a low priority request comes in during your prospecting block, it waits. If someone wants to meet during your admin time, but you have a listing presentation slot open later that week, you offer the later slot. Your time is your most valuable asset. Guard it accordingly. Build buffer time between blocks, 15 to 30 minutes. Use it for transitions. Use it for the unexpected client call. Use it to breathe. Overscheduling yourself is a recipe for burnout and broken commitments. Let's talk about money, specifically where your marketing budget should go. Most agents make one of two mistakes. Either they spend nothing and hope referrals will sustain them, or they spray money everywhere and hope something sticks. Both approaches fail. Here's a better framework. Split your marketing budget into 3 buckets: proven channels, testing budget, brand maintenance. Proven channels get 60 to 70% of your budget. These are the activities that have already demonstrated ROI for you. If past client reactivation generates 3 closings per year for every $500 you spend, that's a proven channel. Fund it. If your geographic farming neighborhood has produced 4 listings in the last 18 months, that's proven. Keep investing there. The mistake agents make is chasing shiny objects while neglecting what already works. Your Instagram reel went viral once, so you pour money into video equipment and editing software. Meanwhile, your past client database hasn't received a meaningful touch point in 6 months. Wrong priority. Next, your testing budget. This gets 10 to 20%. This is where you experiment with new platforms, new strategies, new markets, Facebook ads, YouTube, that new neighborhood, the luxury segment. But here's the rule. Test with intention. Set a clear budget. Set a clear timeline. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. At the end, measure the results. Did it generate leads? Did those leads convert? What was the cost per closing? If it worked, graduate it to your proven channels and scale up. If it didn't, cut it and test something else. Don't fall in love with a marketing channel just because it's trendy. Fall in love with results. The final bucket is brand maintenance. This gets 10 to 20%. This is your website hosting, your CRM subscription, your professional photography, your headshots, your business cards. These things don't directly generate leads, but they support your credibility and professionalism. They matter, but they shouldn't dominate your budget. Here's a benchmark. If you're doing $100,000 in GCI, you should be investing $7,000 to $10,000 in marketing. If you're at $300,000, $15,000 to $25,000. Top producers often invest even more because they've proven the ROI. But if you're not tracking ROI, you're just guessing. And guessing is expensive. Now let's talk about leverage. When to do it yourself, when to delegate, and when to automate. This is where most agents leave massive amounts of money on the table. Here's the framework. Calculate your effective hourly rate. Take your annual income goal and divide it by 2,000 hours. That's roughly a full-time work year. If your goal is to make $150,000, your effective hourly rate is $75 per hour. Now, any task that can be done by someone earning less than $75 per hour, you should delegate it or automate it. Transaction coordination, scheduling, social media posting, listing input, database management, photo editing. These tasks need to be done, but they don't need to be done by you. If you're spending 5 hours a week on administrative tasks that a virtual assistant could handle for $25 per hour, you're losing money. Those 5 hours could have been spent on prospecting or listing presentations. activities that generate thousands of dollars in future commissions. That's a $400 weekly investment that frees up 5 hours for $5,000 activities. That's leverage. But here's the mistake agents make. They delegate the wrong things. They hire someone to prospect for them. They hire someone to go to networking events for them. Wrong. Delegate tasks. Don't delegate relationships. Prospecting can be systematized, but the initial conversation, that's you. Follow-up can be templated, but the relationship building, that's you. What about automation? This is your force multiplier. Email sequences, drip campaigns, social media scheduling, automated showing confirmations, CRM task triggers. If a process is repeatable and doesn't require human judgment, automate it. The best agents build systems that work while they sleep. A past client gets an automated happy anniversary email on the date they closed. It includes a personal video you recorded once. That's automation with a personal touch. Here's your decision matrix. Is this task high value and relationship dependent? You do it. Is it low value but necessary? Delegate it. Is it repeatable and systematic? Automate it. When you apply this framework, you'll find 8 to 15 hours per week that you've been wasting. Reclaim that time. Invest it in revenue generation. That's how you scale without burning out. Here's the final piece, the discipline that separates good agents from great ones. Quarterly resource audits. Every 90 days, you sit down and evaluate what's working, what's not, where are you getting return, where are you bleeding resources. This isn't complicated, but it does require honesty. Start with your time. Pull up your calendar from the last 90 days. How did you actually spend your time versus how you planned to spend it? Did you stick to your time blocks? If not, why not? What derailed you? Was it client emergencies, poor boundaries, lack of systems? Identify the pattern, then fix it. Next, your money. Pull your marketing expenses. Compare them to your lead generation and closings. Which channels produced? Which ones consumed budget without results? Be ruthless here. You're not married to a marketing strategy. You're married to results. If you spent $3,000 on Facebook ads and generated 0 closings, that's data. Either your ads need work, your follow-up needs work, or that channel isn't right for your market. Figure out which. Test a solution. Or cut it. Now, your energy. This one's harder to quantify, but just as important. What activities energized you? What drained you? Where did you feel in flow? Where did you feel friction? If you're spending 10 hours a week on tasks that drain you and could be delegated, that's a strategic error. Your energy is finite. Invest it where you're most effective. Finally, set your next 90 days. Based on what you learned, what will you do more of? What will you do less of? What will you stop completely? What will you start? Write it down. Be specific. Don't just say, I'll prospect more. Say, I'll make 25 calls every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 to 10:30 a.m. Specificity creates accountability. This quarterly rhythm keeps you from drifting. It keeps you from continuing strategies that stopped working. It keeps you optimizing. Most agents set goals in January and then never look at them again until December. That's why most agents don't hit their goals. The top producers, they're adjusting quarterly, sometimes monthly. They're data-driven. They're honest with themselves. And they're always optimizing. That's the difference. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. Grigory Pekarsky started in real estate with 0 background, no connections, no experience, nothing. What he did have was a willingness to identify his competitive advantage and go all in on it. He realized early that his edge wasn't market knowledge or a big database. His edge was work ethic and willingness to pick up the phone. So that's what he focused on. Phone prospecting, every single day, consistent outreach, relationship building, no fancy marketing, no expensive lead generation, just disciplined, high-value activity. Within a short time, he became the top agent in his office. Then he started his own company, Vesta Preferred. Today, Vesta Preferred is the #3 real estate company in Chicago. They grow at 20% annually. They do over 1,000 leases and $120 million in sales each year. And here's the key. 80% of their business comes from referrals. That didn't happen by accident. That happened because Grigory identified the 20% of activities that generated 80% of results, and he doubled down. He didn't spread himself thin. He didn't chase every shiny object. He focused on what worked: relationships, consistent outreach, delivering results. Then he built systems around it. Then he scaled it. That's strategic resource allocation. Here's another example. This one comes from research done across hundreds of real estate agents. When agents were asked to conduct detailed time audits, tracking every activity in 15-minute increments, they discovered something uncomfortable. Most of them were spending less than 30% of their time on high-value, revenue-generating activities. Think about that. 70% of their work week was going to tasks that didn't directly move the needle. Email, administrative work, busy work, low-priority client requests, social media scrolling disguised as marketing. But here's what happened when they made one change. They systematically increased the percentage of time spent on high-value activities. They didn't work more hours. They just reallocated the hours they were already working. The result? Dramatic improvements in transaction volume and income. One group of agents increased their high-value time from 30% to 50%. That's 10 more hours per week on prospecting, client meetings, and listing presentations. Their closings increased by 30 to 40% within 6 months. Same amount of total work. Better allocation, exponentially better results. This is what I mean when I say the problem isn't effort. The problem is allocation. You don't need to work more. You need to work on the right things. And the only way to know what the right things are is to measure. Track your time. Be honest about where it's going. Then reallocate ruthlessly. Let's talk about marketing budget allocation. Here's some powerful data. A recent analysis looked at over 65,000 real estate agent websites. They compared agents who strategically invested in digital marketing versus those who didn't. The difference was striking. In 2024, agents who weren't investing strategically in digital saw their transaction volume drop by 2% year over year. But agents who allocated budget to proven digital channels like SEO and optimized websites, they saw a 6% increase in transaction volume. That's an 8% swing. That's the difference between stagnation and growth. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The agents who stuck with their investment for 12 months or more saw compounding returns. They experienced a 5% increase in their average transaction sales price. Not just more deals, bigger deals. And the agents who invested in strategic SEO saw a 20 to 22% increase in organic website traffic quarter over quarter. More traffic, more leads, more closings, higher prices, all from strategic allocation of marketing dollars. What's the lesson? Marketing isn't an expense, it's an investment, but only if you invest strategically. Throwing money at every platform hoping something works, that's expensive and ineffective. But allocating budget to proven channels, measuring results, and doubling down on what works, that generates compounding returns. The agents who win are the ones who treat their marketing budget like an investment portfolio. They diversify across proven channels. They track ROI ruthlessly. They cut what doesn't work and scale what does. That's strategic resource allocation in action. Let's bring it all together. Strategic resource allocation isn't about working more. It's about working smarter. First, identify your 20%, the activities, lead sources, and marketing channels that generate 80% of your results. Double down on those. Second, structure your time around revenue priority. Time, block your day. Protect your peak hours for high-value activities. Batch similar tasks. Treat your time blocks like sacred client appointments. Third, allocate your marketing budget strategically. 60 to 70% to proven channels, 10 to 20% to testing, 10 to 20% to brand maintenance. Track ROI religiously. Fourth, leverage and delegate intelligently. Calculate your effective hourly rate. Delegate tasks that can be done for less. Automate repeatable processes. Keep the high-value, relationship-dependent work for yourself. And fifth, conduct quarterly resource audits. Every 90 days, evaluate what's working and what's not. Adjust. Optimize. Stay data-driven. This framework works. You saw it with Grigory Pekarsky. You saw it in the time audit research. You saw it in the marketing ROI data. The question isn't whether this works. The question is whether you'll implement it. Here's my challenge to you. This week, conduct your 80-20 analysis. Identify your highest return activities. Then next week, restructure your calendar around those activities. Just those 2 steps will change your business. If you want to go deeper, we have resources available. We have tools for time tracking, budget planning, and quarterly audit templates. But the most important thing, start now. Your future self will thank you. Thanks for watching.